So practitioners, this is for you. This is 3 top tips to help your client self-regulate. So the first method I'm going to talk about is through connection to the earth. The second method is connection to emotions. And the third method is connection to the breath. And the underlying basis of all of these is that essentially it's about connection to self, utilizing these 3 as conduits, as vehicles, as channels, as ways of connecting to self. So the idea of self-regulation for me is that if we can connect those parts of us that are feeling dysregulated, those parts of us that are panicking or worrying or stressed in the moment, if we could connect our self and soul energy to those parts, this is ultimately that disconnection that is being healed. And so those parts then get what they need, which is that connection to that secure attachment, to that compassionate, loving energy that's going to soothe and calm them. So the first one, connection to nature, connection to the earth. Some people also like to refer to it as grounding. This is really, really important because the earth, first and foremost, is our home. And when we connect our feet and our bodies to the earth, not only are we discharging some of that energy, some of that nervous energy or the panicked energy or whatever it is that's arising, we're also establishing ourselves in this moment now. We're reminding ourselves that we are held, that we are grounded, that we are rooted. And this goes some way in bringing us back into this present moment, into this body and connecting self energy. So when I'm advising my clients to ground in or to connect in, really I'm instructing them first and foremost to settle back into their sense of self using some of the other techniques that I'm going to share with you in a moment. And then I'm getting them to connect to the earth or to the connection to nature, because these all work very much together to help us to feel really integrated and really present. So the second technique is to connect to the emotions. And I use the very, very basic tools and techniques of internal family systems. So this is about recognizing that we are multiple. We have multiple parts of our mind. And at any point, it's one of those or a set of those parts of us that are activated. So by noticing what's activated in our body, where that's activated, how it's activated, whether it's a thought, a feeling, an emotion, a sensation in the body, a feeling of energy or whatever it is, by noticing that and bringing our attention right in, we're really starting to create this connection and this dialogue and this real connection to that part of us from our self energy. So when we are taking in our attention, it's the self, it's the soul that's taking in that attention and meeting those parts of us and being present with them. Now, this works beautifully also with working with the breath, okay? So the breath is actually the most fundamental of all of the tools, because when we're used to breathing, we're used to taking that breath as a natural response to activation within our system. What happens is this breath just helps us to take a moment to create some space. And from that space and from that connection to self, in that space, we're able to drop into that innate knowing, that innate embodiment of self. And self knows what to do. Self then is the one to connect with the parts and to give the parts what they need in that moment. So the breath is like the most fundamental aspect of all of this. It helps us to really create that space so that we can do the work with the parts, so that we can remember to ground ourselves in that moment. So important. Now, a breath practitioner who's trained and knows what they're doing will work in an integrative way. And what we teach all of the students on any of the courses that you come to, you will learn how to prescribe particular breath techniques to elicit particular responses from the body, from the emotional system, from the energetic system. So we train our practitioners to work into this within this integrative way. So we're integrating different types of breath techniques in order to elicit particular changes. So within that moment of self-regulating, it might be a particular type of self-regulation that's needed. It might be like a cooling and a cleansing and a releasing. It might be a calming that's needed. It might be, a resettling of panic parts. And so it's very particular breath practices that are needed for all of those things. And this is what we teach you. We teach you how to recognize which breath techniques are needed and when they're needed. Now, the other side to all of this is that we can work with our clients in the moment. We can give them tools that they can use in the moment, but actually, these tools are really important to be there as part of a consistent, regular practice for you and for your clients. So if your clients are working consistently with these practices, they are also self-regulating as like a general thing. They're feeling more self-regulated day to day. And so when they come into those moments of dysregulation, they're able to bring themselves back quicker, more confidently, more easily, because they're already coming from a place of a little bit more resourcing. So we really want to be getting our clients to work with these practices as daily, regularly. And again, why we teach our students to be able to prescribe these practices, because you can then curate a very particular set of practices that your client will do to elicit that particular response for them, depending on where they're at. And we also teach you how to assess that, on an emotional level, a spiritual level, on a physical level, where your client's at and what techniques are going to be suitable for them. This is how to work in an integrative way, not just with a breath, but with the other techniques that we spoke about. This is what we're so passionate about. And we know that leveraging these techniques creates the most powerful amplified benefits in the system. I hope you have found this useful. And if you're curious about the courses that we're offering this year, then check out the link in our bio. Lots of love, beautiful humans.